First of all, good morning. Thanks for coming in.
Good morning.
And let's talk about the bike ride first, and then we'll dive into to H.E.L.P. Ministries. You are helping to organize the 19th year of the M.A.D ride, right?
Yes, that's correct, yes.
And take us through what M.A.D stands for.
Well, M.A.D is an acronym for Make a Difference.
Okay.
In the 25-year history of H.E.L.P. Ministry, we have tried to make a difference all through the community in different ways, and that term was brought up for the M.A.D ride. The ride itself is a series of 5 different courses. It is not a race. It's not a competitive event. Mm-hmm. The shortest of the courses goes from out to the state park and back to Ludington. It's a 14-mile course, and then there's a 20-mile course. There's a 44-mile course, a 62-mile course,
wow.
And for those who are really into it, there's a 100-mile course.
Oh, that's great.
That goes all over Mason County and then ends up back at Ludington. The ride is on August 19th. Mm-hmm. It departs from Trinity Church on Monona, I think it's 1212 North Monona Drive. Anywhere from 6 to 10 in the morning, you can come up and start whichever one of the courses you're going to take. And then it will end up over at the H.E.L.P. Ministry office about 2 blocks away on Tinkham Avenue is where the race will actually, or the ride will actually finish this year. The M.A.D ride is a fundraiser, mm-hmm. and it is the primary fundraiser we use each year to primarily pay our operating costs, to keep our doors open, to pay our own insurance and the different things it takes to keep open. That way, as the time goes on, as the year goes on, any money that's donated, we can put directly 100% towards program costs. Now, we will make more on the M.A.D ride than what our operating costs are, mm-hmm. thankfully, or
that's
at least
great.
every year we have. Yeah,
absolutely.
So there's a little extra there, too, but it's really good. And we have an organization called the Pennies from Heaven that assists us with that. So any money that's donated or is pledged or brought in during the M.A.D ride is matched by the Pennies from Heaven Foundation people. So it really makes this is a great time to contribute because it makes a big difference.
Well, that's got to be heartwarming for you to have Pennies for Heaven participate and partner with you on this, right?
Yes, it is. It sure is. They've been a partner with us for, I've been with the agency organization for 8 years now, and they've been a part of it all 8 years. I guess I'm not positive how long they might have been before that, but at least 8 years.
Yeah, that at least 8 year commitment, that says a lot about this event. Here's a couple of questions for you. You have the multitude of distances that people can participate in. What's the most popular, do you think, between all?
The 14-mile one out to the park and back.
All right.
It's just 7 miles from Trinity Church out to the entrance of the park, mm-hmm. and then, of course, back to the church again.
Yeah, and it's very picturesque, obviously, going past the dunes and everything.
It's a great ride. They've got the shoulder very wide there now, so there's a regular bike lane going out there, so it's not like you're riding in traffic or anything. Yeah.
When you get to the longer distance, the 100-miler, and as you step up to the 100-miler, is there any roads that are closed, or is it just kind of a just make sure that you're safe on the roadways out there?
No, we don't actually have any roads closed off. We have the route is well marked on the pavement with directional arrows, colored arrows for whichever route you're taking. Mm-hmm. And it's been working pretty good. We haven't really had any significant issues. Mm-hmm. The ride out to the park. The ride out to the park and all the routes start out and go out the lakeshore out towards the Y at Styx out there, and then they veer off depending on the course.
That makes sense.
So up to that point, there's a little more bike traffic on the side of the road. But again, there's a good bike lane there now, so that works pretty good.
And you mentioned a few moments ago, and by the way, if you're just joining us, we're talking with Larry Lange, Executive Director of H.E.L.P. Ministries. And when we're talking about the 100-milers, or even past the 14-miler, you had mentioned that all of those miles are in Mason County that people are biking. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
So how far do they go out? What does that look like?
Well, the longer routes all head out generally the same direction. They go up Lakeshore Drive and on out towards Stiles Road, and I'm sorry. Yeah, Stiles Road. That's right.
Okay, yep.
Get my roads mixed
No,
up.
it's all right.
And then across the highway over at King's Corner, the Fountain Road corner there.
Yeah.
And then they start veering off a little bit on where they go from there. The longer routes head up into the northeast section of Mason County, up around Gun Lake, down in that area. The 100-mile route actually goes along the shoreline of 6 different small lakes in Mason County and a couple of rivers. Very, very picturesque ride. It ends up coming through some of the orchard country, over a little south of Scottville, coming in that way. The 62-mile ride covers a lot of that. It just cuts off a little shorter.
That makes sense.
But it's a beautiful ride. We were going for a number of years. We went down towards the Silver Lake area, and we got away from that last year. Primarily because of all the traffic on the highway. A good portion of the ride was actually on the highway, and that just wasn't good.
Yeah, absolutely. How many cyclists and participants do you usually get for an event like this?
Pre-pandemic, or everything is pre-pandemic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pre-pandemic, we would routinely get 80 to 100 riders or so. During the 1 or 2 years of the worst of the pandemic, we had a lot of riders that were registering and then riding at home someplace, wherever they were. So they would sometimes just send in pictures of where they were riding. The last couple of years, I think like everything, things have not picked back up after the pandemic.
That's true.
So we're anticipating, hopefully this year, 50 to 60 riders, maybe 70 riders.
Well, let's see if we can get those numbers up, because people can actually register all the way to the day of. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. They could register anytime now. They can go to our website at helpministry.org and register that way, or just come up to the Trinity Church on that Saturday morning and register and ride from there. The basic registration cost is $35. You'll get a T-shirt and
and that's not bad. That's a good price point for
it is a good price. It should be a pretty good price. At the end of the ride, which this year will end up at the Help Ministry office, there will be hot dogs and all that sort of stuff there later in the morning. That day also is our celebration of our 25th anniversary of Help Ministry. So that afternoon, as the ride is kind of wrapping up, about 1 o'clock, from 1 to 4, we'll be having an open house celebrating the 25th anniversary. For some of the folks that have been around for a while and have been involved with us for a number of years, Gene McClellan, the original founder of Help Ministry, his daughter Sheila Lease, his sons, several members of the original board of Help Ministry from 25 years ago will be there celebrating with us, with a lot of pictures and stories and activities of what happened back then to get the ministry started, which the origin of the ministry is a pretty good story all by itself.
And if you don't mind, I know we want to have you back in the studio, but can you give us a little bit of that history, if you don't mind?
I can, yes. The Gene McClellan and his family, his kids, were on a mission trip, and they were looking. I'm going to say Libya, but I guess I won't swear to that. I don't remember exactly. They were on a mission trip and were seeing some of the things that were happening by some of the organizations that were supporting folks in that country. It hit them that there was a need in Mason County for the same kind of services, that there was a need here in Mason County. So they brought the idea of helping others back here, and where they started was with the concept that we still have of filling in where the other agencies end. So and I'm not knocking any of the other agencies. I don't mean to do that at all. But where DHS can't help anymore and True North can't help and those organizations can't help, that's where Help Ministry steps in and tries to help. Our primary focus has always been on furniture, household goods, appliances, kitchenware, more of a physical goods assistance. And in more recent years, we still do that. That's still our primary focus. But as resources allow, then we're able to assist with utilities, rents, car insurance, tires, virtually anything that comes up.
Well, and you probably have seen and feel the increase in the need from the community out there, especially in the last couple of years.
Yes, we have. In the last couple of years and this summer, probably the single biggest need that we see this summer is the need for housing assistance, both in getting housing to start with and then being able to continue paying for housing. Costs have risen. There's many excuses on what the problem is, but the fact is there just isn't enough ultra low income housing. Housing for $800 to $1,000 a month payments is affordable housing, but it's not if you only make $800 a month.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. Yep.
So that's a problem. One of the issues that we get quite a lot, almost daily, are transportation to medical appointments, and we carry a number of folks to medical appointments all over Western Michigan, and that's a big one also. And again, I'm not trying to criticize anybody here, but it seems like more and more medical appointments are being sent out of town instead of things being able to be taken care of here. So it's specialists in Grand Rapids or Traverse City or Lansing or Holland for any kind of medical problem. It's a matter of getting the patients there. Many of the patients don't have their own transportation, don't have the means to pay for it, don't have vehicles that would make that drive.
And is that where H.E.L.P. Ministries does come in to help?
Yes, we step in with that to do as much as we can of that. We're averaging right now, I would say 30 to 40 trips a month of taking people to medical appointments.
Wow, that's a lot.
We have a whole crew of volunteers. Okay. We do reimburse them for their mileage, which, of course, is where the fundraising comes into it. But we have an incredible crew of volunteers at every level. And I think one of the things that I most enjoy about my job at H.E.L.P. Ministry is being able to watch the volunteers work with the clients. They are incredible.
Well, it takes a lot to not only volunteer, but volunteer on a regular basis, a consistency to help these individuals in the community, especially, the time commitment to drive them to their appointments. They're obviously coming back, they're waiting till that appointment is done. So, hats off to the ministry, and I think this is a good opportunity. For those that like to bike ride, and you don't have to be, a professional cyclist in the sense to participate in next week's bike ride, right? You're looking for family members and anybody that just wants to get out and have a nice stroll on their bike, right?
Yes, and we talk about the 14-mile one being the shortest ride, and it is official, but if you turn around at the 10-mile point, no one's going to call the police on you.
No, exactly. That's right. That's
anything, right. Not everybody can do even the 14-mile one, especially families. And it's really nice when we can get family groups out there. It's kind of fun to watch mom and dad and the kids take off and try and do what they can. Although it's usually the kids that are in front.
For sure. Well, Larry, we're excited for this. I think this is going to be a great event. 19 years running strong, 25 years the celebration for H.E.L.P. Ministries, and just keep doing what you're doing. I think that's great. If it's okay, we're going to continue to promote this over the next week here on both Mom FM and our Hot Country Hits radio station, and let's see if we can get those numbers higher to the pre-pandemic levels, if that's all right with you.
Absolutely, it's right, and I appreciate the opportunity to come down and speak with you, and anytime.
Yeah, absolutely. Doors always open for you. Larry, stand by for 1 second. We're going to get our stations back into more music coming up in seconds here. Let's release Hot Country Hits first on Hot Country Hits 99.9. And 102.7 WMOM. Stick around. More music on the way. We've got Taylor Swift coming up next on 102.7. It is Mom FM.
Stroke can happen to anyone. During a stroke, every